Hello, Hamish Conway here with Sebastian Hargraves. Welcome, Sebastian, to
Thanks, Hamish.
TACOS Tuesday, episode number 4. And today we thought we'd go through, Seb literally was just off a call and getting a number of questions. And we thought, let's just do a call on the most common questions that we are hearing. And some of these might seem basic, which is perfectly fine. And some of them will be a little bit more specific and advanced. But we've got 9 questions here that are commonly asked, and we thought, right, let's answer these today. So that's what we're going to do. Sound good, Seb?
Sounds good.
Brilliant. All right, well, let's rip right into it. So the first one is, this might seem a little bit basic, but why should I even advertise on Amazon, given that Amazon's already getting enough money from their commission or from the deals that we're doing? So why even advertise on Amazon?
Yeah, I mean, it's true. Amazon does get a lot from sellers for sure. So, but the main reason to advertise on Amazon is for the growth of your business, right? So you want to use and leverage what tools you have available, and Amazon's platform is geared towards boosting listings that are using advertising as a vehicle to increase their traffic. So that's probably the main reason that you want to do it. Outside of that, you want to focus on making sure that you are growing your organic sales, though. You want to use advertising as a vehicle to do that with.
Good. Okay. Yeah, so it's an obvious thing to do, and it does fit in behind. You've got Google and Meta, and then Amazon as one of the big 3 now on advertising. And also TikTok coming there. But so then the next question we get, and this is more from people who are not advertising much at all or not at all. And the question is, how much should I spend on ads?
Yeah, so on the call that was just on, I got asked this. So most of the time, a percentage of your overall revenue is the best place to start for what you should spend. Around 2 to 3% can be helpful for if you're a really well-known brand. If you're not a well-known brand and don't have that brand recognition, it's going to be much higher than that. So it could be between that 10 to 20% range for if you don't have all of that brand equity behind you.
And then there's also, I know we were talking before, is, well, you only want to spend as much as you have to as well, isn't it? It's not about just throwing, tons of money at it. It actually has to make sense in terms of how much you spend in terms of the return. But okay, so we're off to a good start. We're 2 down here on the 9, and so that question there just flows into, for people that have been selling and using advertising, and the question is, if I spent more, what would my growth be? How do you answer that?
Yeah. Yep. So this came up as well, where we were working with a business that had very limited amount of budget to spend, but they could see the potential of what Amazon, the Amazon growth for them, and so they asked the questions like, well, what would it look like if we spent a lot more? And it's a complicated question, but depending on how you're spending it, it's like if you keep it as a percentage of your overall revenue, it's always going to scale up and scale in the right direction, and you're never going to be over capitalizing or over investing in your ads. So that's kind of why we use that percentage of your overall revenue as a bit of a goalpost.
Yeah. Just something that just came to mind, right? Because you've got a percentage there, and that can mean a more kind of gradual increase in ad spend, right? What is there ever an occasion to go, right, we really want to get after it and to do a big push to build momentum? Is that a valid approach as well?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you've got the margins for it and you've got the appetite for growth, then you can absolutely do that. And Amazon gives you a lot of avenues for advertising that can allow you to do that and push really hard and aggressively.
Yeah. Okay, so we're talking about investing, and then the fourth question that people will ask is, well, what is a good ROAS for Amazon ads?
Yeah, and we talked a little bit about this and how we think ROAS isn't really the best metric to use. So, we know why a lot of people use it. It's comparable to Meta, it's comparable to Google Ads, but but ROAS, and the reason that we don't use it is because most of the time what we find when we're auditing clients' accounts is that it's overinflated. It's overinflated in the sense that most people aren't looking at their true ROAS. They're looking at a ROAS that includes all these branded searches and all this brand equity that really doesn't paint the full picture for them. So ROAS is part of the conversation for sure, but it's not the most important metric. There's a reason that we called our episode Tacos Tuesday, and that's because that's one of the metrics we think is that stacks up the best.
So what doesn't it measure? What doesn't ROAS measure? Just to elaborate a bit more on that.
Yeah, so it doesn't measure the organic sales that you're going to receive on the platform. So what's different about Amazon ads or Amazon in general versus Google and Meta is that there is an organic and a paid side, and they work intertwined together. And so, you can, as long as you have a good offering, a good product, you can push on your advertising and you can see the benefit of your organic listing move further and higher up on the page and get more visibility. And so because of that relationship, we use that metric of TACOS, which is your total advertising cost of the sale, because we can see that relationship between advertising and that. ROAS doesn't take that into consideration. So you can make decisions around ROAS where you're like, okay, my ROAS is too low. I'm going to pause, different campaigns or whatever and make decisions around it. But really, you're not looking at that whole picture.
Yeah. So if you were to go, say someone said, no, ROAS is the key metric. What are the things that you could do to have a great ROAS and go, hey, well, look, we've taken your ROAS from 6 to 10. And they could think that's great, but actually you've made decisions that aren't actually helping them really grow overall sales or grow market share and ranking. What are some of the things you would do?
Yeah, so
not that we do this, by the way.
No,
just to be clear, but just want to kind of ask that because this is what some people could do, right? To just go, hey, well, look how good we are. We've got your ROAS up to this level, but it's actually done more harm than good. So what would you do to boost the ROAS?
Yeah, and I think, kind of what on your point there, ROAS doesn't measure things that are important to a business, which include market share, and margin and things like that. And so that's, another reason why it misses a lot of the points there. But, if let's say that, for example, I was running the advertising for Lego, which I am not, but let's say I was, it would be very easy to get a strong ROAS by advertising on any term that someone was searching for on Amazon that was the term Lego or included the term Lego in the search term. And that's because when someone's searching Lego, they're looking in general for the Lego brand. And so if you did do that, you'd be able to overinflate your ROAS numbers. You'd be able to what we call cannibalize your organic sales. So they were probably going to order a specific product anyway. You served up an ad and then they happened to click on the ad and make the purchase. And so then you'd cannibalize your organic sale into a paid sale, albeit a very profitable advertising sale, but it still was just going to be a sale you would have got in any case.
So you just double down on all the branded search. And then I guess what's missing, so if we'd use a dog food topper example where there's, say, more competition, because Lego is quite specific. Yes, there's other brick things, but let's say dog food where there's maybe a dozen key brands. And so you could really double down on your branded search there. But what you're missing out on is all those category search terms that are really going to get you new to brand customers or have those people that are searching for dog food toppers open to any brand. You're going to miss out on all of those opportunities. Is that correct?
Yeah. Like some of the niches, those unbranded terms are, have significant amount of search volume. So there's a lot of people that are brand agnostic. They're not tied to any one given brand. And if you're not advertising on those terms and you're only focused on ROAS and you have unrealistic ROAS targets, you miss out on that market completely. That's why focusing only on ROAS is not going to be helpful.
Right. Okay. Have we debunked the ROAS myth, do you think, or is there anything else to add to that?
No, I mean, not really. Yeah, I will say that I think ROAS is still important. I don't think that you throw it to the wind. That there's definitely, it's got its place. I think the key here is just understanding what your true ROAS is. What does your true ROAS look like?
Yeah. And that's when we're doing audits. We break out that branded search and unbranded search to show the difference. And all the time it is, the branded search looks amazing, and then the unbranded search is like this huge opportunity there to improve that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's good. All right, so we kind of touched on a little bit before around Amazon compared to Google and Meta. So what are the key differences here? Because we get this question a bit, well, how's Amazon different to Google ads or advertising we do on Meta? What would you say to that?
Yeah, I think the main key ones, I'll compare it first, like Amazon and Google. When you go to Google, I know for me personally as well, you go to Google for lots of reasons. You don't go to Google primarily to shop. You go to, sort out your 8-year-old's math question that you should know but you don't know, but things like that you go through to Google. But Amazon is a marketplace, and it's about purchasing products. So when people are on Amazon, the intent is far higher than what you would see on Google. The intent is much lower on Google in the sense that, obviously, like I said, people, there's lots of different various reasons that people are there. But when people go to Amazon, they're there to purchase something. You don't go to Amazon trying to find out information, about anything or whatnot, unless you're researching, can I get the cheapest price? So, and then with Facebook ads, again, Facebook ads is a completely different type of marketing. It is it's an interruption type marketing where it's getting in your face. You're connecting with friends, family, whatever, and then you're getting served ads. So you're not in the that purchase driven intent sort of mode when you're on Facebook and Google. Whereas Amazon, you are. Everyone knows what Amazon is. They know the platform and the main differences. So that's the main differences, and it's why the conversion rates on Amazon are really high.
Mm-hmm. And there is also the factor of you advertise to build up organic ranking and get more free sales, which is, so the better you're advertising, the better your organic will be as well, and the better the ranking, and you kind of lock that in. Whereas with Meta and Google, it's more just whatever's happening at that time on your site.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of like what we mentioned before with the ROAS, so, that's why ROAS for Facebook and Google is super important, because you're just measuring the efficiency of the ads. Whereas on Amazon, you have that organic piece, like you just mentioned.
Yeah. And people's mouse is hovering over the add to cart button, more so than having to go to a website and purchase. Okay, good. So that's a key difference there. And also that ties into why ROAS isn't always the right metric for Amazon as well. People will look at a blended ROAS across all their ad spend to see, because there can be some halo effect either way. And that'll increasingly happen in Australia as well. So that can be a reason to consider it. Okay, so another question we get is advertising, and there's kind of two parts to this. There's advertising around deal events, or there's advertising on when you're on promotion. So what should you do in those cases?
Yes. So, I mean, if you're running a promotion, the short answer is just advertise, because you are trying to get visibility in it. When you're advertising around these key promotions like Prime and that, there are specific times that you'd want to bid and other times that you don't want to bid. It's kind of like, when you see people go to these Black Friday or Boxing Day sales, they are lining up in the queue to get into the store, and then they're sort of rushing in. And you have your early bird people, the ones that are willing to do that, and then you have a bunch of people that are not willing to do that kind of thing either, and they kind of come later in the shopping cycle. And then there's a whole bunch of people that are in between that are just shopping around for the best deal, and they're doing lots and lots of clicking around and looking, and they cost a lot of clicks and a lot of advertising budget, but for no real benefit to the brands. So just understanding, the event that's coming up, the psychology of the buyer that's purchasing, during that time, and then you can line that up with how you set up your ads. And how you do it. And we've collected data so we kind of have an idea of, how people purchase during those events to kind of understand it better.
Yeah, that's good. And we'll do a whole show on that as we lead into the Black Friday, Cyber Monday type of week as well, or even October Prime. And also then just to elaborate a little bit more and around if you've got specific products that happen to be on promotion, either with Amazon vendor or as a third party, should you put more traffic to that, like really focus on those products there?
Yeah,
Even though
absolutely.
they
Yeah.
are on yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, focusing on those promotions, that visibility. Like at the end of the day, people do like a deal, so and we, getting that extra visibility definitely helps.
Yeah, it just helps build that ranking. It's on promotion for a reason. Anyway,
Yep.
okay, good. All right, so here's another question we get: if I have a low budget, where should I focus that budget?
Yeah, this is a big one, and one we get a lot. A lot of the time, brands
Well,
we
it's
work
kind of
with.
often it's fixed budgets as well, isn't it? That kind of, it could be a lowish fixed budget, but
Yeah,
that's not a
yeah.
point. Sorry, interrupted.
No. That's I mean, and that's exactly some of the conversations we've had. Like there's a marketing budget, and it's only so much to go around, and it's fixed over a 12-month period or whatever. Like so, there's these scenarios that pop up. So there's a few ways to tackle budgets. The first is what I would say is the best way to get the best bang for your buck is to focus on your best sellers. And some people are like, oh, but shouldn't I get more visibility to my lot the products that are that are not selling as well? And the answer is no. You should focus on the best sellers, and the reason is because the market's already telling you that that product is working. All advertising does is make make the good really good, and if you try and advertise something that's bad, it'll make it worse. And so by advertising the stuff that's working, you're really going to enhance and improve those results. If from that point you can get more budget, then kind of after that you can start focusing on those product ranges that are in there that are not your best sellers. So that's one way to approach it. The other way is we sort of spoke about this before, is about grouping your products into variations. So you might not have enough budget for your whole catalog, but maybe all of your products are standalone listings, and some of them might make sense to group up as variation families. And what we mean by that is, let's say you're selling a I don't know, a drink, a drink, or a 600 ml drink, and you have a 2-pack of that drink, or you have different mils of it. So you have like a 600 ml and an 800 ml and a 1200 ml or 1.25 liter or whatever. You could group your products, but they're the same flavor, for example. You could group your products together so that when you're advertising on one of those variations, someone ends up landing on the product detail page, but they see the other two products as part of landing on your product detail page. That helps you maximize your budget by advertising on, still as many of the products as you can in your catalog, but still getting visibility on the entire catalog. And it's a good way to lift, the whole catalog by doing that. There is a word of caution with it, which is, if you group together variations that are doing okay by themselves, you will lose that real estate on the page by grouping them together, because Amazon will only show one of the variations on a search result page. So if you had 3 showing up on the search result page and you group them all together, you now only have the one. So you want to do it with products that really aren't moving that well, and you're just trying to boost and help them.
Yeah, exactly. Good. All right. So tied into a lower budget, if things are, it's the 20th of the month, and you're going, oh, we might be running out here. Is it better to turn off ads or lower your bids or do day parting? What are some things there that you can do to string out that budget?
Yeah, ideally you never want. Yeah, ideally you never want to turn off your ads, because you lose that continuity, and we've always found that once you turn ads back on, they always perform poorly as soon as you turn them back on. If something is working, you want to make sure that it just continues, and you don't want to break it by letting it run out of budget or whatnot. So that's the first thing I'll say. To control the budget, when you might not have enough left for the month, probably the best way is day parting. And the reason I choose that over lowering your bids is, if you keep lowering your bids, there's a possibility that you just lose all visibility. And so day parting would allow you to bid at certain times of the day where you convert best. It still gives you visibility every day, and you're still going to get that continuity of every day having advertising without running the risk of just losing, complete visibility. So, day parting for me is, probably a better option than lowering the bids.
Yeah. And we've actually got a day parting tool that you can get. So if you go to gosellglobal.com, look under resources, and I think it's under guides there, and then you can get that, or have .com /day dash parting, I think it is. Anyway, but I'll put it in the show notes there so people can get that, which will certainly help. Okay, so that was number 8. Now, lucky number 9. And so this will be last one here. So should I be advertising on low priced products, or how do I do it, given there's not a lot of margin there often?
Yeah. Yes, you can do it, but you would need to do it with a bigger plan or a bigger approach in mind. If you were advertising a lower price product and there was no margin in it, what you'd want to do is have, again, like a variation that you want to that would be the main variation that you're going to make money on. For example, you might have wipes. You might sell a 10-pack of wipes and make no money on that because the price point is really cheap, but you might have a 250-pack of wipes that you have as a variation as part of that grouping. And so that's a situation where you could advertise on the cheaper one. The other reason that we advertise on the lower priced product is because Amazon charge you more to advertise on more expensive products. So their CPCs are actually the cost per clicks. So the CPCs stands for cost per click. They are higher on higher priced products. So the traffic, to get the traffic to your listing, is cheaper when you advertise a cheaper product. So from that point of view, it's a good option to do. And generally, your conversion rate's really good. So you'll sit really high up on the page because you'll have a good conversion rate, good price point, everything like that. That gets traffic to your listing, and then they can purchase the bigger pack to help boost the margin.
Yeah, nice. And it's also thinking about the bigger brand as well, isn't it? So getting people to the storefront can then just build out that whole order size.
Yeah, and
so,
one thing I would say on that just quickly as well is a lot of the time when people are looking at that, they'll look at that product and they'll say, oh, the margin's no good on this product, when we need to stop advertising or whatever. So when you're analyzing it, it's really important that you put your variations together and you make a decision with them all grouped, because that's the true impact of the that whole situation. And so if you make a decision just on that one product at that low price, it's always going to look bad. You need to look at it with all of the variations grouped together.
Yeah, good call. And that's, getting that structure right. Oh, well, there you go, Seb. That's the nine questions, and well answered. And hopefully you found that useful, those listening. And if you've got any other questions that we missed, feel free to connect with us. hello@gosellglobal.com, or go to the website gosellglobal.com. And when this actually goes live, it's Tuesday Tuesday when people are listening to this, we're actually going to be at the Amazon Summit in Sydney, Amazon Seller Summit. So looking forward to that. I was thinking maybe could we record a podcast there? That could be interesting, just to bring on some special guests, couldn't we? Yeah, we'll see what we could do there, I think, just to make it interesting. But anyway, so I hope you're finding this interesting in episode 4 here. If so, look, hit the follow button, like it, subscribe, and all of those good things there, and add some comments or ratings. That all helps just get this program out to as many people as possible. So really appreciate you tuning in, and we'll be here again next Tuesday for TACOS Tuesday. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Hamish.